everyone, it's Samantha, and today's video is going to be super duper long, and I'm going to get really real with you guys, and it's probably going to be way too TMI, but I have a lot on my mind and I really just wanted to get this video filmed. And it's a happy thing, but it's an also not so happy thing. We are moving, and this is just something I never expected. I was just starting to feel like this was our home. We've lived in Champaign for 3 years now, and it's almost exactly like our 3-year anniversary when we bought this house, but we are moving. So my husband got a job transfer. His office here is closing, and he did get the option to transfer. So it's really just, we're in shock right now. When they first told us they were closing his office, we thought he was going to be out of a job. So for a few weeks, we weren't sure he was going to get a transfer. We were pretty sure he wasn't going to get a transfer. We thought we were going to be in the situation where he'd be looking for employment. And this is a great reminder for everybody to definitely have some sort of emergency fund. And you know, at first we really did panic, but then I thought about it, and just looking at our savings, not getting into retirement savings, not getting into her college fund savings, like nothing except straight up savings, we would be okay for at least a year on the same way of living as we live now. And of course we can cut that down. We can make things super duper cheap and live for longer than that. And plus they were talking about pretty generous severance packages, so that would cover some stuff for us, and that would just increase the amount of time that we could comfortably live without him being employed. So it's just a great reminder for everybody to make sure you have those safety nets in place, because you know, that could be a situation where if we had nothing in savings and he got unemployed, we would be, you know, really broke and really struggling and worried about losing our house and worried about losing the car we have a car payment on still. So it's just a really good reminder to make sure you're saving some money, make sure you have those emergency funds in place, because things happen. And, you know, we were going from, he had just gotten a raise, they're just doing some major work on his building so that they could employ more people. They were hiring like crazy. All of this to feeling really secure, and then them closing the building and just totally coming out of nowhere, totally shocking us with this news. And it's definitely very naive to think that nothing is ever going to go wrong like that. So it definitely changed our mindset, thinking, you know, he was going to be unemployed. I definitely don't feel the need to spend as much money right now. I feel like saving all the money we can, because I have that little insecure feeling that, you know, something could go wrong at any moment. And I didn't have that before. Olivia's right outside the store. I did have that sense of, I was really naive. She's right there. So anyway, everybody knows you're supposed to have an emergency fund, but make sure you do have one, so you can not be so stressed if something bad happens. But anyway, so enough about that. We were going to be okay, even though we were very stressed and very worried about that, because there's just not a lot of employment opportunities around in his field. It's just not a really big tech place, and we need to be in a tech place. So when they offered the transfer, it was to Austin, Texas, which is like one of the main tech hubs now. It's becoming like this really huge up-and-coming tech place. And we're kind of in a state of overwhelm right now. We're in a pretty small town, and we're moving from a pretty small town to a town with about a million people. And it's just shocking to me. This town is humongous, and it's got so many more things in it, so many more things of entertainment, restaurants, shopping, housing choices, neighborhood choices. So we're really, really overwhelmed with what we're going to be moving into here, because it's so different from what we've been living in the last 3 years. So I want to give you guys a little bit of background. Moving is something that I dread, and this move is going to be good for us, and I'll talk about a lot of the good parts of this. But I want to give you some background to let you guys know like where I'm coming from with this. So I grew up with a single mother, and she actually still holds the same job today. She works for the same company today as she did before I was born. So for basically 30 years, she's worked for the same company, but she did transfer around a lot, and it was sometimes optional, sometimes not optional. And we moved around a lot when I was a kid, and I remember distinctly 3 of the moves specifically, and just hating it. I hated moving around. I hated going to a new school. I hated making new friends. And I moved in the middle of high school, and that was the really the hardest one. And I was really upset about that one for a long time. And in the end, I'm very glad that all these things happened, because it led me to my husband and it led us to where we are now. But it was really hard. It's really hard to be young and to move around a lot. And some kids cope really well with it. I did not. I hated it. I'm a shy person. I know I'm doing YouTube, so it doesn't seem like I'd be shy, but I'm a very shy person, and I don't make friends really easily. It takes a lot of like work and effort for me to try to make friends and to put myself out there. And so I just wanted a different life for my child, and I don't want to move around a lot. So right now I'm okay with moving because she's so young, but I'm hoping that this is going to be our last move. And because it's in Austin and because it's in a tech place, I have a strong feeling that it can be that for us. You know, he could find other work if worse comes to worse. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. My husband comes from a different background. His parents have been together the whole time. I came from a single mother background, and they moved when he was a baby, and he lived in the same house until he went off to college. So I want that life for our kids. I want our kids to remember the same house growing up. I'm hoping that we'll just stay put, and that's what I really want. Ideally, we could stay put forever. So when we moved here, at first I'm like, you know, this is our starter home. We're not sure we're going to stay in Champaign anyway. So this was kind of a golden opportunity, if you really think about it, because we weren't really set on this town. We're not a huge fan of the school district here. They call it school of choice, and it's basically like you pick your top schools that you want your kid to go into in kindergarten, and it's kind of like a lottery-based system. They try to get you into the school you want to be in. So you could really be driving across town to take your kid to school, because it's not zoned like normal school districts, and that really, I don't know, it gives me a sense of uneasiness. I don't want to be driving my kid across town every day. I don't want my kid to be bused across town every day in a school bus. It doesn't work well for us. We're thinking about private schools since we're living here, and that school system is just kind of weird like that. And you know, one of the reasons why you want your kid to be in a school that's really close to your house is they can make friends really close to your house too, you know? If your school is across town and everybody around town is going to the school, you're going to be driving around for play dates. You know, you want your kid to make friends with the local kids, so they have a neighborhood and they have people close by. So I really didn't like that whole setup. So we knew going into it that we weren't sure we were going to stay here. Even if he stayed at the same office, we may end up moving to a little bit out of town where there's different school districts. There's things I love about this house. I'm not saying that. I do love this house, and I'm going to be sad to give it up. There's a lot of things in this house that aren't exactly what we want. So I wasn't sure we wanted to stay in this house forever anyway, but this last year I really started feeling like this was home, and I started wanting to make this our home and wanting to finish our basement and get it set up to where we could live here forever. And I talked about in a video, I wanted to get Pottery Barn furniture for her playroom, and I had measured out the window for a window seat, and I had ordered some shelving so that we could do this system around the window where there's shelves on both sides, the window seat and shelving underneath, so it makes like a U shape around the window, and it'll look like built-ins even though it was like fake built-ins. And I had ordered some of the stuff for that, and the day I ordered it was the day Johnny came home and he said they're closing his building. So I sent all of that stuff back. We thought at the time, you know, he was going to be unemployed, but it's just like, you know, I was making plans for this house. We were looking at sectionals to get a sectional that fits really good in our living room. We were looking at getting a new bedroom set. And so all of those things are on hold because obviously we're not going to order that stuff before we move 1,000 miles. So we're really like at this standstill of, you know, now we know we're not going to live here for very much longer. And I'm glad we didn't order the stuff. I would be really upset if we spent a lot of money on a sectional or a bed set and then had to ship it across the country and it gets dinged and scratched and all sorts of things. I did the cheap groceries because I wanted to order Pottery Barn stuff. Then I thought he was going to lose his job, and so we wanted to be tight with our money anyway, so I did cheap groceries. Then we found out we're moving, so I want to be tight with our groceries so we could save as much money as possible to buy a house. And that leads me to like my next topic of selling and buying a house. This is where I feel like I'm being TMI. I'm telling you guys quite a bit of what's going on. But our house here is in a really, really nice neighborhood. It should sell pretty quickly, and we should be able to even make a little bit of a profit on it, even though we've only lived in it 3 years. So we're really hopeful that our house will sell really quickly. The problem is we've got 3 dogs and a baby, so there's just no possible way that I'm going to be able to keep the house clean enough and show ready for when people need to come see the house. I've talked to our realtor about this. They do give notice, you know, you do get an hour or 2 notice, but that would involve me packing up 3 dogs and the baby and trying to clean the house and make it look perfect every time somebody wants to come see our house. So Johnny and I just thought, like, that's insanity. It's not going to work. It's going to be way too much stress. And I have a chronic disease that if you get stressed, you get sick. So my migraines really start coming out when I get stressed. So it's just not an ideal situation. We had thought of different things, maybe renting a place and one of us taking the dogs down and just staying there while we try to sell our house. And then we talked to our realtor about the option of just having our home vacant and move-in ready. And he said that would be fine because we are in a really desirable area in town. So he doesn't have a problem with us having our house empty when we're trying to sell it. So that's what we're going to do. And we don't know exactly a timeline yet, and I'll get to that in a minute. But our plan is to rent someplace for a year and then buy. That gives us time to sell our house. That gives us time to get used to the neighborhood, and it gives us time to save a little bit more money. We have plenty of savings now that we could buy a house equivalent to this house in price, but we want a bigger house. That's one of the things I don't like about this house. We have a 3-bedroom. We need a 4-bedroom if we're going to have a guest room and a scrapbook room, especially, you know, if we change our mind and want to have another child, we're going to need that extra bedroom. So it's definitely, we want a 4-bedroom house. And our current house has an unfinished basement that would be like a second living room kind of area. Our house right now lacks any additional like living space. So you've got the one living space, there's a small flex room that's supposed to be a dining room, and then we're done. So I really want some sort of extra living space, a den, an office space, a study, whatever they want to call it. We need an additional family room so that when she has friends over, sleepovers and stuff, she has room. Our game plan going into this is if we rent for a year, we can save up and get a better house than we would get if we were to purchase right now. So we can get everything we want in a house if we just wait, find the right house. We also have the option to build. Building would definitely be something I would be really interested in. Johnny's not so thrilled about that because it does take additional time. And since we are going into this thinking, you know, this is going to be our forever home, hopefully, we want it to be in the best school districts, and that's going to cost money. And this town has really, really good schools and really, really bad schools. And so we have to be in the good school area. Some of those are more affluent areas, not all of them, but that does involve us paying significantly more for a house than we paid here. So that's kind of where we're at, is we're going to be super, super cheap the next year. We want to have a really, really solid down payment, not just 20%. We're looking at more than 20%, so our payment's okay. That year is going to give us that opportunity to get the house of our dreams, pretty much. So we don't want to rush into buying something. We did rush into buying here, and while it did work and we do love our house here, I never felt like it was our forever home. It wasn't our dream home. And so I really want to take the time and make sure that we're choosing the right thing. And so it's going to take time. And I feel like we could give ourselves a year, even 2 years, if that's what it takes to make sure we're where we want to be. And so that's what we're doing. We're going to rent for a while. We'll rent before we put this house on the market so we can go ahead and get the dogs moved and get this house show ready. We do have to paint because our walls are terrible. I don't know if you can see this wall, but this is slat wall. It used to be the background wall. It's got screw holes all over it, so that's got to be fixed. We've got a painter who's gonna help us fix up the house. But anyway, I think that's pretty much like where we're at as far as like the housing. We're gonna be really budget friendly the next year at least and try to get the house of our dreams. And I see us building. I'm dreaming of building a house, and if the right house comes along before that and there's one that's just perfect for us, we'll buy that instead. But I see us building, and I really love the idea of picking out everything in our house, and so that's something we're thinking about. Even before we found out about this, I always check realtor.com. That's like one of my favorite websites. I have the app on my phone, and I love looking at houses. And it's like when people like watching HGTV. Well, this is my like version of HGTV. I love looking at houses. I love knowing like the pricing of the houses around us. It's just something I've always loved to do. And so knowing we're gonna move to Austin, I'm like on realtor.com daily, looking at houses, looking at the school ratings and stuff. Like, I'm obsessed with it now. And so I kind of know what's out there. I kind of have an idea of what neighborhoods we wanna be in. And that's another thing. He's gonna be working downtown, and this is just a commuting city. So right now my husband drives to work and it takes him 10 minutes. And so we're looking at like a 30 to 45 minute drive each way at minimum. Like, that's the minimum drive. So it's going to be definitely a determining factor in where we're going to live, is how far we're going to have to commute, how far he's going to have to commute. I'm not going to commute, but that goes into it. So it's just going to take us time to figure out where we are, where we want to be, and we're overwhelmed. I'm really overwhelmed. As far as timeline goes, his office is closing by the end of the year, and they ideally want everybody moved by the end of the year. So that gives us until December. But we want to get it done. We want to sell our house as soon as possible because the housing market is so much better in the summertime. So we want to go ahead and do it. So we're looking at this summer trying to get moved. There's another little wrench in the plan. He is getting a relocation package. We thought it was going to be just a cash only. They give you this chunk of cash and they say move. But it actually, we just found out this. So we're really overwhelmed. Can you tell? I'm super overwhelmed. But we just found out he's getting like a better relocation package than we thought. They're going to move us. So they're going to actually literally pack up all our stuff, move it there, and unload stuff. They did say they will unpack, but I'm not sure I want them to unpack my stuff. I definitely want them to pack it up. I mean, that's just ideal. I want them to pack up everything so it's easier for us. And with a toddler, packing's gonna be hard. So I really want them to do it. And then it also involves us driving the dogs or having the dogs driven down, you know, hiring somebody to drive the dogs down. And this is a 15-hour drive. So it's not something that's easily going to be done in a day. So we're just thinking about logistics of things. The relocation package does pay for shipping up to 2 cars. So we could have the dogs shipped. They'll pay for the cars to be shipped. We can fly. So that's an option we're looking at too. It's just a lot. There's so many options. There's so many things that have to be done. Finding out that he's getting the better relocation package, like half of my stress is just gone. I'm so happy that they're taking care of most of the stuff. I feel like now we're at a point where we can breathe. So I think things are gonna start going smoothly once we get an idea of what we're doing. Right now we're just like looking at options and talking to people and getting quotes for things that have to be done to our house, like the paint. And in fact, I started packing some in this room, like stuff that's already packed, and the moving company doesn't want you to pack anything. So I actually have to unpack these boxes so that they can pack them again. So that's actually a good thing. I don't have to pack anything. Moving with a toddler is going to be interesting. We've traveled with her one time, and so traveling to visit Austin will be the second time, and then moving will be the third time. And it's gonna be interesting. So as far as this channel goes and my scrapbooking channel, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not going to be posting super regularly. I'm going to try to film as much of the moving process. I'll probably do some sort of vlogs in here, although I don't really feel super comfortable sharing too much about Olivia. I do want to document this. I do want to show you guys like the moving stuff, and maybe you'll get some tips and tricks along the way. You know, it's part of my life. I definitely want to share it with you guys. So I'll probably do some sort of moving vlogs and sit down videos talking about what's going on, when it's going on, that things are happening. But like I said, this is going to be a good and a bad move for us. So professionally speaking, it's great. Austin is a great place to raise a family, so it's good in that aspect. There's people bicycling outside. That's why I'm looking that way. As far as opportunities to do stuff with our family, it's a great place for family stuff. They've got all sorts of entertainment stuff. It's close, not super close, but it's close to the coastline, so we can go to the beach very often. It's, I think, 3 or 3.5 hours away from the coast. So, I mean, weekend beach vacations, I'm so psyched for that. I love the beach. I always, if we go on vacation, I want to go to a beach. And so it's just so much more attainable living within driving distance of a coastline. And we've never lived close to a coastline. So that's going to be really, really exciting. Fresh seafood is going to be really exciting. Just being able to have any restaurant you ever want, they've got it. They've got any shopping you could ever think of. They've got lots of music entertainment. I think they have a really good food truck scene, if I'm reading correctly online, and I do like the food trucks that are here. I just love that concept. There's lakes and lake beaches, and so I'm really excited for what Austin has to offer as far as things like that. It looks like a great place to raise Olivia, so I'm excited about that. What I'm not excited about is we are moving away from all the friends that we've made the last 3 years, and I feel like we have amazing friends. We all have babies around the same age, and our babies were born together. They've played together since they were born, and we're gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss them growing up a little bit together. As far as our family, we've got family in Indianapolis, which is about 2.5 hours from here about, and we see them a lot during the summertime because they have a lake house, and it's halfway between Indianapolis and Champaign. We both drive halfway and see each other at this lake house all summer long, so it's been really great. And I thought she'd be raised with her other cousins, and that's just not going to happen now. That's one thing I'm the most sad about, is missing out on some of that family time. And as far as Olivia's grandparents, our parents, this is not within driving distance of them anymore. We were within driving distance at Champaign, and now we're not. So they will have to fly in, and that's another reason we've got to have that extra bedroom so we can have a guest room for people, because if they're paying to fly in, hotels are just not an option. You know, they can't spend a ton of money to come see us every time. It definitely changes things, and those are the things I'm most sad about. I'm not sad about leaving this house. To me, like, a house is just stuff, and I'm actually really, really excited about the decluttering aspect. I was already super gung-ho about decluttering this year. I've already sold off a bunch of stuff, and when we found out we were moving, I sold off a bunch more stuff, which is why the slat wall's gone. It was sold, but I had already bought this book. I had pre-ordered this book. It's called The More of Less. It's by Joshua Becker, who runs Becoming Minimalist. It's a blog, and I'm just obsessed with his blog. I read it all the time, and I was, you know, leaning more towards minimalism, more towards getting rid of stuff, and this is just the absolute perfect timing that we're gonna move. It really gives me that push to just get rid of everything. I want to get rid of as much as possible. We talked about selling off all of our furniture because it's all our, like, broke college kid days furniture. We have not gotten new furniture since we lived here, and so we definitely were talking about that before all this happened. We were talking about replacing everything anyway, so I think we'll probably take a lot of this to the rental and then sell it when we end up buying our house and purchasing the furniture we want to keep forever. But anyway, I was really excited. When I pre-ordered this, I got access to his course. So I'm taking his Uncluttered course. It's just an online thing. It just is motivation. It gives you things to do to unclutter your house. I'm going by the book, I'm going by the course, and I'm really just clearing out stuff. Move's good in that aspect too, that we can finally, you know, let go of some stuff we've been just kind of holding on to and too lazy to get rid of. Aside from the actual like moving part and getting it done part, I am really, really excited to be in Austin. I think it sounds like a great opportunity for us. It sounds beautiful and I can't wait to go visit. We're gonna go visit soon. It's just, I'm much more excited about the prospect of Austin, Texas. Way more excited for that than I was for moving here. When we picked Champaign, I was like, oh, that's nice. I wasn't super duper excited about this town in particular. So it's a definite change, being super excited about going to the town. Johnny's excited about the idea of Austin, so we're just super duper excited. We are really, really overwhelmed with what's going on because we just, oh man, it's such a shock. We're still really shocked, and I'm especially shocked that he got the really nice relocation package that's gonna help us do everything, because it's a lot. It takes a lot to move, and especially 1,000 miles. This is a big move, and so I'm glad that they're gonna help us as much as they are, because it's a lot. Anyway, I think that's all that I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna look at my list. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. So my videos will probably not be super regular right now while we're just getting the house ready and working on moving. It'll be the next few months. I'm pretty sure we're going to be moving in the next few months, although we do have till the end of the year. But I just wanted to lay it all out there and share it all with you guys, because it's something that's been on my mind big time this last month. So it's been a really trying month, not really knowing what was going to happen for a while, and then finding out what's going to happen, and then having all these options, and it's been interesting, and it's going to get more interesting. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. I'm going to stop rambling. Be sure to subscribe if you want to follow me along on this moving adventure we're going to have, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you guys have a great day. Bye.